Hey guys, welcome back to Las Cruces Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Carlos Parra, and with Nexus Media Group. And today I have a very awesome and unique small business here in Las Cruces. And my guest today is Mario. Mario, can you just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and your small business?
Yeah, hey, thanks, Carlos. Yeah, my name is Mario Sauceda. I grew up in Solon Park, or outside of El Paso, and then I came like 10 years ago to go to NMSU for digital filmmaking. And then the whole time I was doing digital filmmaking, I was like, man, video games are my passion. I grew up. My first video game was Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo when I was 5 years old, and that's the memories that I have is playing like next to my brother, uh, player one, player two, fighting each other, and I thought that was a really good time. My brother got older and we stopped playing, but every once in a while when I get the chance, I said, hey, let's throw it down, let's whip out the Super Nintendo and play it again. So that's what kind of got me into video games. And then when I was in high school, my freshman year, I became the president. I became the president of my high school gamers club. At the time, it didn't really have structure. There was no president. That's why I became president as a freshman, because I said, hey, if they're gonna take us serious, we gotta start having the bylaws and secretary and all that. So I established president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, all that. And then I was president for 4 years until I graduated high school. And then when I came to NMSU, I was like, hey, there's probably already a gamers club at NMSU, but there really wasn't. The closest thing was the game developers club, and they kind of helped each other to get extra credit in game development and stuff like that. And then they once in a while would play video games. But I wanted just a group of people to hang out with and play after school. So then I created at the time we were called the NMSU Game Nights, and I'm wearing the shirt right now. It's Las Cruces Game Nights now, but we became Las Cruces Game Nights 5 years ago, and then we started meeting at the Lions Club. And then I told everybody since day one, 10 years ago, I said, hey, one day we're going to have our own base, like our own headquarters, our own base of operations, So that was my dream, is to eventually one day open up. It was going to be like a clubhouse, but I figured to keep the lights on, it would have to be a business. Instead of just relying on $5, $2 donations every 2 weeks, it would have to be a legitimate business. So that was my inspiration to open up Galaxy Gaming Lounge September of last year. So we're about 8 months now.
Awesome, congratulations. So tell me a little bit about Galaxy Gaming Lounge. So, because I'm familiar with it, right? Because again, I also love the video game industry, but a lot of our listeners may not be familiar with what exactly a gaming store is, and if you can just kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, of course. So Galaxy Gaming Lounge. First, I chose the name because ever since I was young, they would tell me, the sky's the limit. Like, you can do anything, And I said, but that's not true, because what's beyond the sky, And then, outer space, So I went with that. I said Galaxy Gaming Lounge, because not even the sky is the limit. Like, there's more than that. So, and then of course, a lot of people are familiar. Like, it has nothing to do with like Samsung Galaxies or anything like that. But I know that Samsung has been trying to get into like gaming and stuff. So I guess it doesn't hurt, but we haven't been sued either. So, but yeah, Galaxy Gaming Lounge it is trademarked and everything. We are registered and everything, but it's a hybrid. See, it's not an internet cafe, because a lot of people think of like a gaming lounge where you go in and there's a bunch of computers. I didn't want to compete with Glitch Gaming Center in El Paso, because that's what they do. They have like a LAN center with a bunch of state-of-the-art gaming PCs just lined up in cubicles side by side. It was more of just a hangout place, just a place where you can come sit down and play some of the good games from the past and some of the new ones too. So I decided to concentrate on my first love, which was the console gaming, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, We have all the old school stuff all the way up to, PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One. We have the, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, GameCube, Wii U, the Nintendo Switch. And then I also wanted to add a little bit of the new stuff. So we even have like a virtual reality room where you can come in and play some VR, and it's an entire room in the back dedicated just for virtual reality. So that's what Galaxy Gaming Lounge is. It's just a place to hang out, something to do. I always got those. One of the biggest complaints living here in Cruces for 10 years was that there's not really much to do. Everybody goes to El Paso to do anything. And I know at the time we've had some businesses like the bowling alley, which also went down. We had Hastings, which went down. We had We Know Video Games, which went down. So that's when I said I need to give back to. It's now or never. I've been here for 10 years, and a lot of people ask me, why did it take you so long? Was because of that. Because I felt like, well, we do have a hangout place. It's the bowling alley, or we do have a hangout place. It's We Know Video Games. We do have a hangout place. It's Hastings. So instead of trying to step over anybody, I would partner up with them. I partnered up with the bowling alley. I partnered up with Allen Theaters. I partnered up with Fox's Pizza Den, with We Know Video Games, with Hastings. Like, we did tournaments for different video games. We did promotions. We did events. We would travel. We've gone to E3. We've gone to anime conventions, Comic Cons. So it was mostly that's what we were doing for 10 years, and also helping out the community, the Gospel Rescue Mission, a lot of fundraisers, the Roadrunner Food Bank. We just did a lot of giving for the past 10 years. And then when I saw that gap, when there was no more Hastings, no more We Know Video Games, no more bowling alley, I said Las Cruces needs something to do. And even though I've been doing all these events for 10 years, people need a place to just go and hang out after school or work. And that was it. I took the plunge. Last year I said it's now or never. Let's open up. Awesome. And that's all Galaxy Gaming is about, is hanging out, playing games. I buy, sell, and trade. So if people are looking for, they're like, if they're a little bit more introverted and they're like, well, I'm not the type of person that likes to go out and play. I want to just sit at home, with my headset and just play by myself, or play at home with my brother and sister or whatever. Then we have that. We have controllers, we have games, we have consoles, we have stuff that we sell so that you can enjoy them at home as well. But if maybe you're a parent or low income, or maybe you don't have good internet where you're at, if you're out there on Highway 70 or in an area that doesn't have good internet, we get 300 megabytes per second in the store, which is not amazing, like super mega gaming computer lounge, but it does the trick. Like, there's no lag. It's beautiful, with like up to 8 consoles at a time, playing Fortnite or Apex Legends or Overwatch. It plays really well. So people like to come here and just hook up some people even bring their own PCs and hook it up here, play some League of Legends. I have one of my guys, his name is David. He just comes here and says, bro, this, I would rather play here, even though I'm playing by myself, League of Legends, because, surrounded by video game memorabilia, cool people, just talking to people around, you're not at home by yourself. So that's what Galaxy Gaming is all about.
That is awesome. So and ideally, right? So you're creating an environment where people can hang out, where you're able to, build friendships and have, an awesome place to play. And, and yeah, you're 300 megs down, you're going, well, it's not that, but for Las Cruces, that's great, because like, even where I'm at, and we moved away from that Highway 70, and now I'm all the way across town. And like, I think the most I could get was 75 megabits down. I'm just like, man, and I was in heaven, because I came from 10 megabits per second, right? And so it's like, oh, it was torture, and we couldn't stream, and I couldn't play, and we couldn't be doing this right now, because it just wasn't going to hold up. So that is awesome. That's a great resource. And so you kind of touch base, right? So you are not only is it a place to hang out, to play games, to go hang out with friends, go socialize, but you are also doing something that we had stores that offered it, right, which was that community, right? Because we do see this where Hastings went out and the bowling alley is gone, and there's no way for sometimes a lot of kids, and I was the same way, right? I grew up poor where my console, I didn't get the latest and greatest console, and I think that's part of why as an adult I do this, right? Where it's like going, oh, the new thing's coming out, I'm going to get it, because when I was a kid, we couldn't afford it. And so I was always the console generation behind, right? Because you get them at a discount and they drop in price by then. But then you get all these awesome games that are like really affordable. So no, I can totally see that. But that's another outlet where you're offering where you can get the used ones that are a lot more affordable, but they're still going to give you hours of entertainment. But we know one of the biggest things that we look at too with that. Where I look at the industry as a whole, because again, I love the video game industry. So, right. And I'm always kind of like, I get tweets from Wario64 and CAG going, these are the specials, these are their deals. This is where the industry is going. And one of the things that I noticed that you're offering that technically your competition is big, right? They're a large corporation right now. They're closed for COVID-19 here in Las Cruces, and I think throughout New Mexico. But I know one of the things they were trying to do was build a community like yours, right? Where people could go sit down and game. So I always like to pose the question, what sets you apart from your competition? And right now your competition, honestly, the only place I can think of is Gamestop.
Right. Well, Gamestop, I actually have a lot of respect for Gamestop. I mean, some of the greatest stuff that I've ever gotten, because that was where I got my stuff when I was younger, So I remember buying my PS2 at a GameStop. I remember buying my Wii at a GameStop. I remember just going in just to browse and see what was the latest and greatest. Like I said, it was like a hangout place. Even though there wasn't a place to sit down or there wasn't really a place where you could try out a new game. It was just something to do. So I have a lot of respect for them. I work really closely with them too. If they have any specials or whatever, I try to match them or go down with them or. Yeah, I have no, I just love working with GameStop. But as far as what I offer aside from that, it's just a more mom and pop shop feel. But at the same time, people that come in here, they say it looks like a man cave in here. Like, I know it's a little dark, but I have black lights. That's another reason why it's called Galaxy, because I have black lights and everything that's white shines, and there's white little spots, so it looks like stars under the night. You would have to come in and check it out. It's that environment. I GameStop might offer more inventory. They're more likely to have what you're looking for. But when you come here, what we offer, the whole hanging out and the environment, instead of just being in the basement or in a corner in your room with your setup, you can come to a place that has all this stuff hanging on the wall and black light and yeah, I mean, we get stuff in all the time. That's another thing that I offer. Sometimes people need quick cash. I'm not like a pawn shop, but people come in here and they're like, man, I just what do you give me for my Xbox One? What do you give me for my PS2? And I help people too. I'm not like an employee at GameStop that they have certain rules to follow, and maybe there's a little notch broken on a PS2 or something, and they're like, oh, we can't take it because corporate tells us that it has to be pristine. I don't really know the rules. I'm just kind of trying to make something up because that might be something. I'm not an employee, so I don't know how strict they are. But let's say they say, oh, well, there's a latch missing, we can't really take it. I mean, I'm not like an employee. Sometimes they're like, man, I really need the cash, or I really need to trade it because I really want this game and I want to trade it in for store credit and get to the game that I've been wanting to get this whole time, and I'm just a little short on cash. And I'm like, you know what, I'll do it for you, because I'm the owner and I just like helping people. So of course, some people might try to take advantage, but I can tell, I talk to people, I get to know them, a lot of people, I mean, this is not my opinion, but I've heard on the internet and stuff that, when you go to GameStop, they're just like, do you want to subscribe? Do you want to get the power up rewards? And then they try to sell you a million things when you're just trying to get the game that you want to go home with. I actually genuinely like strike up a conversation. I'm like, hey, what's your favorite game? What are you playing right now? Like, oh man, did you hear about blah blah blah? There's a new character coming out for Smash Bros. Did you see the trailer for Final Fantasy VII? Before it came out. So I just strike up a conversation, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm not all about money. And then I'm not here like, hey man, I just work here. I don't know. It's not like, this is my passion. There's also that meme that I always say that meme that says oh, I hate this store, I'm never coming back here. And then the employee is like, do I look like I care? And then I'm over here thinking like, I do care. Like, I'm over here like, please come back. Like, because I'm not an employee. This is my store, so I live off of returning customers. So I will do anything to make them happy and make sure that they get what they want. For the video game, like, video games is my passion. So if they tell me, hey, do you have Maximum Carnage on the Super Nintendo? I'm like, bro, that game is so awesome. Like, and they're like, yeah, you got to get it. And I like make a little like, like holy sound while I give it to them and wrap it up. It's like, I get it. If I know that it's going to a good home, I'm more than happy to help out. So like I said, they may not be getting the retail experience, but they get a more personal experience at my store than just, okay, here, give me a checkout, here's the card, bye. I feel like that's what I can offer.
Yeah, that is fantastic because, and again, most people wouldn't, right? Most people, they go into GameStop and they're just like, hey, this is what I want. Not a lot of people are going to know about Maximum Carnage, right? Or going, hey, I want, I had my gold Zelda 64 cartridge, and I'm looking for that gold, and it's like, nobody, and it's like, I'm kind of anal with it, where I need things complete in a box, right? And it's like, I need the artwork, I need to be able to display that on a shelf. If they don't have it, then I kind of bounce out. But yeah, having that passion and being able to express that, where in other places, they're there for the paycheck. So that is awesome. Okay, so what is one thing that people seem to misunderstand in your business?
Well, one thing is they might think like, oh, so what do you even do there? Like, I don't know, because my location where I'm at, it looks a little weird from the outside. Some guy was like, this looks like a strip club or something. I don't know. But in all seriousness, I think what they probably misunderstand is that they just want to come in and like GameStop, like just buy the game and head out. But the real purpose is to hang out. Like, you come here and this is a place where you're going to spend 2-3 hours just hanging out and playing games. I think that's a big misconception that some parents, like, I've had parents that come in here with kids and they're like, oh, well, this place is not for my kid. Like, this is more for like teenagers or adults, or maybe early 20 or late 20s, early 30s. But I say no. I have all kinds of games for kids. I have like the Game Boy, no, the 2DS games, and the Mario Party games, Castle Crashers, Minecraft, all kinds of kids games. I even have I don't have it right here, but I have like a Fisher Price gaming controller. So it has like ABC on it, and it makes little noises and it lights up. So I've had like 2-3-year-old babies here playing, with that controller, and then, from all ages all the way to, 8-9 years old, playing on the Super Nintendo. That's another thing too. Some of these kids, they missed out on certain games. Like, I know for me, I didn't get a Sega Genesis till I was in high school, but I got a Super Nintendo when I was 5 years old. Like, it came out around that same time.
Mm-hmm.
And, my family is like, you're not going to have a Super Nintendo and a Sega Genesis. You only have one. So, I have a lot of parents that come in and they're like, oh, man, you have that too. Like, oh, I remember playing that when I was little, and maybe they didn't think I had it. Maybe they thought that, I just had PS4s and Xbox Ones and virtual reality, which is definitely awesome. Something that you guys should definitely try. But then I also have the old school stuff that, oh man, I only had a Sega Genesis. I never had a Super Nintendo, and vice versa. I had a PlayStation and I have a 64. I had an Xbox. I didn't have a PS2, stuff like that. So I feel like people just need to come in and say, hey, we're going to spend 2-3 hours here and check it out, instead of, just, oh, give me a controller or something and I'm out. Something to look forward to, like, hey, maybe we'll go next week with the whole family, we'll check it out. Yeah, I think that's the biggest misconception, is what kind of place I offer. They're like, oh, well, I can just go to GameStop if that's all he does. It's like, no, it's a place you hang out and you stay
Yeah,
for
yeah,
two,
it becomes
3
more of an experience. And that's
Yeah.
the thing too, is like, and Nintendo caught it, right, where they were like, hey, here's the SNES Classic, right? Here's the NES Classic, where it's like, hey, these are for parents who probably now have kids, and right, these parents, you want to capitalize on that nostalgia. And then, I mean, I did it, right? I wanted a mini console. I missed out on the first run and got it on the second run for the NES, but it's also like, check this out, guys. Like, boys, this is like what I played, and try to build that appreciation. And yet here you have an opportunity for parents to go, hey, this is what I played as a kid. Let's play together as a family. That is great. And it is a misconception going, hey, games are, you're only doing this, or you're only for a certain age. When it's like, no, games are, whether or not parents like to believe it or not, every time they're on a cell phone, every time they're doing whatever it is playing on there, that is a video game, and if anything, those are more geared to, unfortunately, to feed off kids and right, to stimulate their brains to go, I need to buy more turns, where here it's like going, hey, you get to kick back, you get to hang out, you guys get to bond as a family, play as a family, you get to relive those experiences. So that is awesome. So next question is, what motivates you in your business?
What motivates me is seeing that. I mean, we go from one to that, but it always comes to that is every time I see a parent come in and be like, man, that's what I played when I was little. Now little Johnny gets to play it. It's like that's what it's all about. And then anytime that I see the kids having fun and just coming in, and older adults too, they're like, man, wife doesn't let me have this at home. She made me hide it. She said it was for kids or a waste of time. It's like I get to come in once a week or once a day and spend an hour here after work, before I go home. I mean, I always tell them, bring the wife, but and sometimes they do. Sometimes they say, hey, I'm going to bring my wife and she's going to like it, and the wife doesn't have to worry about, well, anybody really, but if the wife has any concerns about, oh, you're going to make a mess, or I have to clean up, or something like that, or for anyone, everything's already set up. Just sit down, pick up the controller, and start playing. And then you go home and you don't have to worry about, oh, we have to put everything away because we have to make the house look nice or whatever, because they probably made them put it away in the basement or something, or in the attic. I don't know. I just get all kinds of people. And yeah, of course, I've said it on Facebook before, that because a lot of people are like, man, don't you get, like, how are you not tired? Like, how, because I have a part-time job. I work 6 hours a day part-time. And then right after I come to my shop and, I clean up, I fix things, I put stuff away, I put stuff on eBay. I create events, tournaments, I start advertising. So I'm working at least maybe 14 hours a day every day. Well, that was before the Corona. Obviously now it's not busy right now. But 14 hours a day when I was fully operational, and people are like, how do you keep up the energy, man? And I'm like, because people are here. Like I'm an extrovert. I'm a weird combination because a lot of people see gamers as introverts because this is what we want to do all day. But in reality, like I'm an extrovert gamer. So if there's people in my shop, I'm like pumped up. I'm like, it's like I drank like 10 Red Bulls. Like I'm just like, man, this is awesome. Like I got people here and people are having fun and like it's working, you know. It's like it makes it feel like all my hard work was for something. Like it was worth it.
That's such an awesome description of that motivation. Um, so, and you kind of alluded it, right? Where right now it's empty, right, because of Corona. So what's something that you as your business, right? Coronavirus is shutting people down, shutting businesses down. What are you doing that's different, or how did you have to adapt to your business during the coronavirus, and what are you doing right now?
Well, it was a roller coaster because I wasn't planning on closing down even with the whole pandemic. Um, but then, of course, you know, the governor made the state of emergency that everybody has to shut down. But originally, like, I'm gonna take you through the roller coaster. So originally, I was like, well, I'm still not gonna be closed because thankfully I have it right here. Like I've had hand sanitizer since day one, like day one. That's why, you know, I don't know if a lot of people thought about this with Corona that like we wouldn't be. Well, I don't want to misspeak, but I feel like some people think that if people just wash their hands and practice better hygiene, we wouldn't be in this mess, you know? I don't know. That's just, like I said, what I think people have said about it. But that's the thing, you know, I haven't gotten sick since I opened up my store. You know, whenever you know, you have a job and then sometimes, you know, you get the cold, and you get sick or you have to, you know, you have stomach ache and you call into your boss and say, hey, I need days off because I'm sick. That hasn't happened to me since I've been here because I clean, because I have hand sanitizer, because I wash my hands, because, you know, I mean, hygiene, it's just important. But to answer your question, um, so when they first said you're closing, I said, well, I don't need to close because I've been doing this since day one. But then when they said the New Mexico governor said, she said we needed to shut it down, I said, okay, well, at first they said you can only have, you know, 5 people or less. So I put up a sign on the store saying that I could only have 5 people gaming out of my 15 stations that I have, only 5 people at a time. So it was hard because I had a group of people come in and then I would have to tell the other group, I'm sorry, I can't accept anymore. But I would time it because, you know, it's only $5 an hour to play at Galaxy Gaming. So maybe they paid for an hour. And then after you know, I would get their information. And then after that one group would leave, I would call the other group and said, you know, they left, and if you want to come in, you can play, you know, an hour. So I would have to schedule it out. But then, of course, the tragedy struck when the day after they said all non-essential businesses, no matter what, have to shut down. When the governor said that, the next day is when I got broken into. Like they broke my window, and then they stole my PS4s and my Xboxes. And that was like I said, because I'm such a passionate guy, like it's not the PS4s, it's not the Xbox. Like that doesn't, I can get them back. I can just, like you said, GameStop, just go buy it. You know, they have a bunch of them there. It's because I felt like, you know, everything I had done was like, well, I guess people don't care. You know, I mean, that's how I was feeling. I know that's not the case. I know people do care, but it was a more of a moral and emotional blow than a financial one. Not to mention that it definitely was a financial blow on top of that, but the emotional blow was kind of what was bringing me down. Um, After that, though, I posted on the community page about everything that had happened, and I got a lot of support. Like I had people here in the door the next day trading in Xbox 360s, PS3s, PS2s, Xbox Ones, PS4s. Some of them, they were like, "Here you go, bro," for the community, because of everything that you do. And I insisted. I was like, "Are you sure? I can give you store credit. I can give you cash." Some of them were the most amazing people ever, and were like, "Nah, man, you can just keep it." But then others, definitely were like, "Yeah, well, how much can you give me?" And it was like a normal trade, like when people bring in stuff all the time, and I made them an offer, and I was like, "If you want to take it or not, that's okay. I understand." I try to be competitive with all the other offers in the area, and yeah, so I regained my inventory like that. Um, I want to say within like a week and a half, I pretty much almost had everything that was taken away. So I was like, "This is awesome. The community helped me. I'm back on board. Let's not reopen completely, but let's keep the 5 people at a time." Um, and then people, people were getting anxiety because the 5 people that would be here, the news just kept getting worse and worse. The governor was like, "There's fees if you're out and about." I don't really know. I should be more up to date on everything. But from what people were telling me, it sounded like people were like, if you're outside, you might get a fine, stuff like that. So people were like, "You know what? I'm just not gonna risk anybody's safety. Um, so I'm just gonna close like completely." And then I was waiting for the stimulus stuff, like the whole help, the business loans, and the $1,200 check that everybody was getting. I was waiting for that money, and before I, the day I got the stimulus, that's when I got broken into a second time, and everything that was traded in, everything that the community had helped me out with, they took it. They took Xbox 360s, they took my PS4s, my Xbox Ones. Um, so right now, um, mostly everything is in storage. I don't have anything out of that, like games, controllers, accessories, TVs. All that has been put away in storage. The only thing that I have left is my decorations up on the wall and my tables and chairs, because I hope that after all this blows over, we could just come back. We can just go back to the way it was. So right now, uh, I'm uploading everything to my eBay store, which is Galaxy Gaming Lounge Video Games. That's the username on eBay, and also on Facebook Marketplace. So it's mostly online. People can reach out to me and say, "Hey, do you have this? Do you have that?" And then I look through my inventory, and if I'm like, "Yeah, I do," I meet them somewhere, or I meet them here at the shop, and then quick transaction, and then I go home. I don't. I'm actually not even staying here anymore.
Yeah, I always find it disappointing and very heartbreaking when it's like, man, things are almost kind of, you're right. We're going down the spiral of chaos, and it's just like people that are, I don't know. For me, it always makes me angry where it's just like, man, like people work hard for this, and when people start breaking in and taking from people that are working hard, they're trying to strive, give something back to the community, give something new, even just businesses, products, all of that, and they just easily just take it, and it just makes me very angry and aggravated. So I'm sorry that happened to you, but with that, and we know things are in storage, but people can also contact you and look at eBay. Just props to you and your passion to strive on, because I had a friend a few years ago when she had a business, and she had a food truck, and they broke into her food truck and took the iPads, took everything, and started ripping out parts of the kitchen, and she wasn't able to continue on. Right, that was her livelihood, that truck, and now it was stripped, and it was like, really, like, and so yeah, it just makes me angry that you know, people are just like, I don't know, take so easy. It's like, no, people are earning this, right? And they are working hard for this. But I'm glad you're still here though, and I'm glad you are still, like, you know, being able to help people and get them products that they need. Um, so okay, so, and I think we're kind of running out of time because, right, Zoom only gives me like 40 minutes.
Okay.
So we have this, and you kind of alluded to it, right? So people, I'm assuming, can help you by going to Facebook Marketplace, contacting you on Facebook, following, and so I'll have all the links provided down below on the YouTube, on down below in the comments on the YouTube for the description, so we can link everybody there to your store, to your Facebook. Do you have a website as well?
Yeah, it's galaxygaminglounge.webs.com.
Sweet. So we'll get you. We'll get all those linked there. So, you know, normally I normally have the typical questions of like superpowers and stuff, but I want to just know right now, right? You're a gamer. I can tell you right now that when Fortnite was like, hey, we're pushing out Deadpool, and I was like, what? Okay, I'm back on that train because I'm a comic book geek and I wanted Deadpool and I got him, and then I was all disappointed because they didn't do week 10 with him. So, but what is it that you're playing right now to, you know, what's your escape game right now?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because if the whole Rona thing wouldn't have happened, we were gonna have a launch party for Final Fantasy VII. We're gonna have a launch party for Doom Eternal. We're gonna have a launch party for Animal Crossing. Like, we were gonna have all those games here ready to go. So, you know, if little Johnny, or dad or mom were like, we don't have $60 or $180 to get all three games, you know, you can just come in here and pay them $5 an hour. Like, yeah. So I mean, right now, oh man, it's a little sad, but the night before we got broken into, I was playing Final Fantasy VII. I was even posting on Facebook. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go back to Final Fantasy VII. And I had a hunch, you know. I was like, what if they break into a second time? I'm like, nah. And then I was like, I better upload my save data. So the night before I got broken into, I uploaded my save data for Final Fantasy VII, and then they took it. They took my PS4 with my copy of Final Fantasy VII, and then I'm like, I need to go home, get Final Fantasy VII, and then re-download my save data and pick up where I left off, because that game's amazing. Like,
Yeah,
people right now need something to play. Final Fantasy VII, you guys got to pick it up.
yeah, that's nostalgia for me, man. I had an old man. I don't remember what brand it was, but it was a branded one-handed controller. I still have it. Where me and my old roommate in college, you could play Final Fantasy on the PlayStation with one controller, and it was specifically made for that. We would just sit there for hours, and we put, oh my gosh, it was just right co-op, just back and forth, taking turns. So that was real nostalgia for me. I did pick it up as well. The Switch changed my gaming where it's too easy, right, to pick up and just go here. But I need to start doing remote play on it because, yeah, I started it and it was like, oh, this is amazing. So many memories, and it's like, yeah. And then of course I bought it's not the remake, but you know, I bought it also on the Final Fantasy VII with the 3x speed and stuff like that on the Switch as well. So awesome. Okay, yeah. So you're a gamer. You've been gaming. What is your best? What do you consider the best video game of all time?
That's a hard one, man. I can tell you the game that I played the most has got to probably be Super Smash Bros. Melee on GameCube. Nice. That one took a lot of years of my life, a lot of years. I would play it all the time with my friends. I would travel. I would compete. I got ranked at one point in New Mexico. That game was so awesome. But then, of course, lengthwise, it would be like The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Nice. On the N64, especially the remake on the 3DS. And then the other two, of course, that come up a lot is probably Fallout New Vegas and Skyrim.
Nice, yeah. Those are all lengthy, good RGB.
Yeah, those are up there. there's probably a lot more that I can probably fish through my brain of titles, but I just love all games, man. Like every game is amazing, no matter how bad it is. Even Superman 64, you gotta try it.
Oh, nice,
Heck,
nice.
even ET on the 2600, that one's a good game too.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, well, I spent probably more time in a average, quote unquote, bad game, average game, which was Destiny. Destiny 1, man, I put in like, I don't even know. I played it all the way through, right? I put in, how many years? 3 years on that. And then went into Destiny 2, put in probably another 2 years, dropped out. It was just getting a little too crazy. Didn't have time for it anymore for that ongoing. But man, did I love it. That, and then Breath of the Wild came out, right? Breath of the Wild, just, again, Switch for me makes it easy. Play an hour here, put it away, put it to sleep, take it out. And I think I ended up with 250 hours in that. Absolutely loved it. It was a great game. So yeah, so awesome. Okay, so the final just question kind of is like, how can people find you? How can they help you during this time? How do they find you? How do they find your inventory? How do they know what you got? And how do they contact you? Right. So that way Las Cruces knows exactly going, hey, we have this small business, right? Video games is everywhere, right? It's part of the culture now. Even right, the World Health Organization said, a few years back, oh no, don't play video games because they're bad for you, right? But then now we're in isolation. There's like, play games, right? Keep your mind stimulated, keep your motor skills going, stay indoors, do not go outside, right? Experience something you can never experience, right? You got VR, you got great storytelling, you got, you're able to, why I always love video games more than movies, right? Because you're able to experience that. You become that character. And if you're playing Mass Effect, well, then you get to, or any kind of Telltale, you get to make those decisions, right? You get to drive where your character's going. So with that, right, and people knowing like, hey, we're in quarantine and people are starting to get a little bored out of their mind. How can people find you, your services, and how can they help?
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you brought that up because since a lot of people in the community helped me out during the first break-in, I didn't think it was fair to ask a second time because I just didn't want anything to happen to the stuff again. So instead, I would ask to help me help you by, like you said, they can call me up at my phone number 575-621-3858. I don't care even if it's a spam call, I'll answer. Uh, um, on email, my Facebook, eBay, heck, even on Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, RPG Fan 2005 is my gamer tag. Just reach out to me and say, hey, this is what I need, and I'll try to make it happen. I'm ordering with my 1200, I'm getting a system. So once all that is set up and the curve goes a little bit more down, and people calm down a little bit, and maybe it's a lot more safer for people to come out, then we'll be back. We'll be back in full supply and ready to rock and roll and reopen the door to the public. Because, like I said, my inventory is not as awesome as Gamestop, but especially like I'm getting a lot of requests for PlayStation 2, PS1, GameCube, Wii. That I have a lot of. I have a lot of stuff for the old school stuff. So if people have something sitting at home, and maybe it's missing like maybe a controller or a plug or something, I can supply it and get it back up and running, and maybe they don't have to spend $200-300 on a new system, and they can just have fun with what they have. So that's another idea. But once I reopen, then people can help me by coming in, checking it out. I've had a wedding at my store. Like, it's crazy. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, cause I do birthday parties too. So somebody was like, "Hey, I know you do birthday parties, but have you ever done a wedding?" I'm like, I even questioned it. I was like, "Bro, you sure you want to have your wedding here?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I love this place." So him and his wife got married, and on Halloween. So it was like a Halloween gamer wedding. Like, everybody was dressed up. It was awesome. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a place to hang out, have a good time, and experience some video games. Like you said, how you're on your Switch and you're like, I can just jump in from one game to another, pause it or whatever. That's pretty much here. Like, you want to play the Super Nintendo, and then you want to go to Fortnite, and then you want to go to Smash Bros. Then you want to go to Animal Crossing. You want to go to, Maximum Carnage. You can just swap around, and everything's here.
Awesome.
But that's in the future once the Corona. For now, I do deliveries. When people call me and they say, "Hey, can you come and bring me, a memory card, a controller?" I just go and take it to them, and I take cash and card too.
That is fantastic. Mark, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast, for spending time with me, and just telling Las Cruces. And so Las Cruces, right? I'm literally just sitting here saying, hey, GameStop is closed, right? They are not allowed to be opened in New Mexico, right? They're not going to come out and deliver to you. That's not what they're going to do, right? They can't. And even when the CEO is like, no, we're essential. Well, it's like not in New Mexico, right? They closed. Best Buy, Walmart, you don't want to go into those stores, right? It's so much easier to call somebody up, see what you're looking for. And the beauty of this too, especially for kids, is that like kids don't care about graphics. They don't care about the way things quote unquote look, right? And so if Wii's are still great for kids, right? They're gonna play, they're gonna do all of that. They're still gonna have a blast. And so yeah, Las Cruces, I just kind of say, hey, go call Mario, hit up Galaxy Gaming Lounge, get your used games, get your used consoles there. Mario, I'm glad that you are in Las Cruces. I'm glad you are an alternative to the brick and mortar. I'm glad you're an alternative to Amazon and everything else. So thank you again. And Las Cruces, be safe.
Of course, it means a lot, man. Take care. Thanks for having me.